Welcome to Menopause Diaries Unfiltered. I'm Jackie Grant, your host, with over a decade experience working with peri to post-menopausal women, helping them to lose 15 to 20 pounds within 4 months without calorie counting, restrictive dieting, and spending all their time in the gym with natural solutions. I've delivered menopause workshops to councils, adult learning services, community organisations, and the National Health Service in London, whilst running a community interest company that I deliver and host menopause and women health cafes in my borough. This is Menopause Diaries, the podcast where we get real about menopause, the weight, the mood, the sleepless nights, the wins, the hard days, unfiltered, unscripted, and unapologetically honest. Today's guest is Tierney Gunthorpe, sleep apnea coach and physiotherapist with over 20 years experience. Welcome, Tierney.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
It's great to have you. So, Tierney, tell me about, your journey so far in perimenopause.
So my journey so far has been, I just felt off. And that's a lot of people I find describe that is like they just feel off. So my energy wasn't the same. My recovery after workouts wasn't the same. Um, so I just knew I was shifting. I still have my period all the time, like every month, but there still was a change, right? And then I did go on, I'm on to testosterone and progesterone, which is helping with all those symptoms. So that's great.
Oh, that's brilliant. So, in terms of like sleep, mood, anything like that, any of those things come up for you?
Yeah, so some of the sleep did impact me, right? Because progesterone will help with sleep.
Yeah.
And so my sleep did get impacted. So I do use progesterone to help that.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
And
And you
go,
okay.
go on.
Oh, no, no. I was just going to say that, like, at this stage of our lives, right, our risk for sleep disorder breathing increases, such as sleep apnea, right? So but for women, it often is masked and it often looks like insomnia. And the symptoms, right? So for women, we don't present necessarily, someone may not tell you that you snore or you stop breathing at nighttime, right? You may
Mm.
not get those things for sleep apnea,
Mm.
right? But you can have other things, which is very similar to perimenopause and menopause symptoms, right? We get the brain fog, we get the irritability, we have insomnia, right? Memory loss, weight gain, all that can be
Mm.
very similar between the two of them.
Okay. So, in terms of what you do around sleep, how do you work with the women that might present to you with sleep issues?
Yeah, so for me, I address the root cause of it, right? So I do like as you mentioned, I am a physiotherapist, so I do a physiotherapy type assessment. I look at the whole body. How are they moving? How are they breathing? How can we optimize their breathing so they're sleeping better at nighttime?
Mm.
I also do look, I send them for blood work. I look at that. And then I also send them for more imaging if I need that as well to see what's going on. I also have, like, I do assessment to see, are you at risk for sleep disorder breathing, right? And a lot of times, majority of people I see have risk of sleep disorder breathing. And part of that reason is that our mouths are not developing how they used to. Our mouths are actually getting smaller.
Sorry, our what?
Our mouth.
Oh, mouth.
Our mouth are getting
Oh, right.
smaller. Yeah.
Oh, right. Really?
Yeah. So that is where a lot of issues. So it's interesting. Like I have two kids, and that's how actually I got into this whole sleep apnea coaching is when I had my own sleep issues after I stopped nursing my son at nighttime. And I kept waking up. And I luckily read the book that led me down this path of sleep disorder breathing. And I
Mm.
have upper airway resistance syndrome, which is a step before sleep apnea. Right. And then I realized so many people don't get the help. And then so many people get missed. 90% of people who have sleep apnea don't know it. That's how high it is. And
Wow.
and a lot of it, as I said, comes to how our mouths are developed. So when I drop my kids off at school and I look at these kids around me, I can see most of these kids are going to need some form of dental work or they're going to have some form of sleep disorder breathing issues just I can look at their face and I can see that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
interesting.
yeah, so it's all about how the mouth develops, right? Because if you think about it, you probably notice this too, a lot with your clients too. is we eat a lot of more softer foods. If you think about people like having smoothies, right? They love having
Mm,
smoothies, but we're not chewing anymore.
right, right. So
Yeah.
that makes your mouth smaller by not chewing anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you think about it, right? Because the mass, like the muscles here are not, we're not using them anymore, right? Because we're swallowing.
Oh my God.
So that's a big part of it, right? Is our diet, like what we're eating is changing how our mouths are developing and their risk is increasing. So if you have a history, I have braces on right now, but I had braces when I was younger too.
Mm.
But because I did an appliance before that for my airways to actually make my mouth bigger. So I had an appliance that actually worked on the cranium bones and made them bigger.
So what was this appliance? Sorry.
It's a little wired appliance that you put in, and it's called the ALF, and it just goes into your mouth, and then it's actually your tongue against it that actually makes it bigger.
And when do you use that?
I used that before I had the braces. I was hoping I never needed braces again because I don't like braces.
Right.
Um, Not many people do, but it was to make my mouth bigger. But then I had a crossbite, so there was a lot of things that had to get fixed. Hence, I had to go into braces. But I did that beforehand to help make my mouth bigger. And
And
it's all about the tongue, though. That's how the tongue works.
so would you have to wear that all day or what,
Yes, yeah,
when?
yeah. So that was in 24/7. So they didn't come out, but
Okay.
it's not painful. It just makes your mouth bigger, right? But it's the appliance is there, but you have to use the muscles to get the benefit out of it, right? So
Okay.
and that's where I come in and I work on all the muscles. We look on the airways, we strengthen the muscles in the airways to keep them open at nighttime so they
Wow.
don't collapse.
And so have you worked with peri or postmenopausal women around this?
Yes.
And have you seen like, a lot of women that have sleep, because obviously people have sleep issues through menopause, but they've come to you directly because of their sleep.
Yes. Right. And if they know, like some of them may know, some of them come to me with the diagnosis of sleep apnea. Some do not. Some of them is
Mm,
just insomnia. Right. But
mm,
I'm pretty accurate when I look at them and I do some tests on them that I'm pretty confident that they have some form of sleep disorder breathing. I cannot say that they have sleep apnea or
yeah.
upper resistance syndrome. They get sent for a sleep study for that, but I can still work with them while they wait for that sleep study. But the sleep study usually confirms exactly what I thought.
And do you work globally or do you just work?
Yes, it's all virtual, so it's all online. Yeah,
Okay, it's all virtual. And
yeah.
so, say someone in the UK came, I know we're going kind of off topic slightly. Is well, we are talking about menopause and we are talking about like sleep affects menopause. So it is but like it's just that I'm interested because a lot of women do have sleep problems. So that's why I'm kind of really interested in like hearing from you, right? So how do you do like, so if I'm from the UK and I came to you and I had a sleep issue, how would you do all the blood work and all that kind of stuff?
So I actually send it to you, I send you the list of what you need to get. Some places that you can just order it online. Like there's some countries, like US, for example, I just give them the list and they can actually order it online without going through a primary care provider or a doctor and
Right,
order it. Some of them have to go to their family doctor and then ask for the requisition. And
right.
then based on that, then I just look at the results and then it just gives me more information that'll help me then what we need to do to help support the sleep in addition to how they're breathing and what their airways are doing at nighttime.
Okay. Really interesting stuff. Really interesting. The part about our mouths get smaller because we're not chewing. I mean, wow. Do you know what I mean? It's like didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so that's a big one, right? And then also like how are we breathing, right? Because the environment changes how we breathe, our food changes how we breathe, right? And if we're not breathing we don't have the nasal breathing, then that's going to impact us, right? If our tongue's not resting properly, that'll impact us, right? So with sleep apnea, what happens is either the tongue falls back, the roof of your mouth collapses, your throat collapses, right? So we address all those areas, so we help keep those open, right? And as I said, we have to look at the whole body because your tongue is actually linked to your big toe.
Linked to your big toe?
Linked to your big toe, a fascial connection, your deep line connects your tongue to your big toe.
Okay. And
so if your tongue is tight or your big toe is tight, it can then make it harder to breathe because that deep line includes your diaphragm, which we need to use for breathing, right? So it just can tighten up the whole system.
Okay. This is so interesting. Yeah. It is so interesting. Oh my God. I mean, there must be loads of women that kind of need to, even get assessment from you, especially if they're having problems with their sleeping, because, I know that, even where I do my menopause and women's health cafes, that's quite a big thing with a few ladies, is that, getting up in the night, either not being able to get back to sleep, or, not being able to get to sleep, so yeah, it's a really big problem.
It totally is too. And that's one thing you mentioned too. I think, did you mention like they get up to go to the washroom too? Like, yeah, right. So that's one sign too for sleep apnea or sleep disordered breathing, right? It doesn't have to be sleep apnea, but sleep disordered breathing is that you get up to pee, because what happens when we don't get that good quality sleep, then we don't turn off the hormone that produces urine. So then hence that's why we wake up to pee.
Sorry, can you repeat that bit again?
So if we don't get good quality sleep, so when we have good quality sleep, we have a hormone that actually suppresses urine production.
Right.
And if we don't get that good quality sleep, then that doesn't happen. And then that hence why we get up to pee, because we're not turning off that hormone's not activating to stop the urine production during the night.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm speechless now. I'm like, you're telling me my toe is affecting my tongue. You're telling me about hormones, about that affects you going to the toilet. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things, right? And then actually on my website, I have a quiz that people can do if they want to, right? That shows if you're at risk for sleep disorder breathing, right? And so I look at that. And then I can see, yeah, are you at risk? Yes. And then there's things that we can do, right? Based on that quiz, I can see areas that need to be worked on.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, and it is really important. I think, most people know how important sleep is, right? Because unfortunately, when we get into perimenopause, menopause, our risk for cardiovascular disease increases with the estrogen changes, right? But it also then, undiagnosed sleep disorder breathing also increases your risk for for heart attacks and strokes as well, right? Like that's a huge increase, because one of the things is if we have an undiagnosed sleep disorder, right, we can be stuck in our fight or flight. That doesn't allow our cardiovascular system to relax, right? Because when you think about it, we're running away from a line. What happens? Our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up, right? That's not very restful, right? And ideally, in a good quality sleep, our blood pressure drops down, our heart rate comes down. But that doesn't happen with people who have undiagnosed sleep disorder, or not addressing it, I should say. If it's an unaddressed sleep disorder breathing, then that's happening.
Wow.
So it's a high risk for women, right?
Yeah, that is really interesting. I know, Tierney, we haven't really talked about your story as much as we've talked about sleep, but I think, in terms of your story, like, do you feel like, you're in a good place right now with your
Yeah, I would say yes. And I think the big part for me, I was fortunate enough that I realized I had sleep disorder breathing before it became perimenopausal.
Yes.
Right? Because I addressed it before that happened. I think I would be doing a lot worse if I wasn't, right? Because my sleep would be a lot worse. And yeah, and then as I said, every symptom, a lot of the symptoms that we complain of as a perimenopause and menopause, right, are very similar to sleep apnea. or
Right.
sleep disorder breathing, right? Because every cell in our body is on a 24-hour cycle. So everything can be impacted.
Mm. Mm. And so do you feel like you're in a good place now? Now you've got testosterone and progesterone. Do you feel like you're in a good place going forward?
I do. I'm not going to say I don't have days where you're still, you know what, like you don't have that same energy. There's definitely, because unfortunately, as you know, perimenopause is chaotic, right? It
Yeah,
is,
most
our hormones are changing
definitely.
all the time. I think it actually becomes easier when you're menopausal because at least everything is then steady state, right? Whereas your perimenopause, there's such a fluctuation. So I definitely have days because of that fluctuation,
Yeah,
right? I don't think it's going to be perfect, but it's definitely helped me. And yeah.
yeah. And you're right. It's the most symptomatic time. And when you're post-menopause, then they've all start to, you know, flatline. So and so you tend to start feeling like, well, I feel normal. I might not be normal, but I feel normal. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like, yeah, today's an awesome day, right? So there's just some day, right? And there's just a couple of days where you can tell, like, oh, it's changed, it's switched, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
so there's gonna be some, but as I said, like if I was very fortunate that I figured out I had sleep disorder breathing before I became perimenopausal, and I
And
addressed it because it would be a lot worse.
yeah, definitely. So Tierney, where can people find you?
The easiest way, well, I'm on Instagram as a sleep apnea coach.
Yeah.
I am also have my website, thesleepapneacoach.com, and that's where all my services are there. I have master classes. I have one on fix insomnia for menopausal women
Okay.
on there. I am launching a 12-step sleep program as well, which is going to be group coaching. So I'm launching that as well. Yeah, so all that information is on the website. And as I said, my free quiz is also on that website. So if they want to do the quiz to see if they're at risk for sleep disorder breathing, it's a great way because knowing you have it will make all your symptoms a lot more, like a lot easier to manage. Because unfortunately, if you just address the hormonal component, progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone,
Mm.
you're not going to get that 100% because you haven't addressed another big issue to your health issues, which is undiagnosed sleep disorder.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for being a guest today. It's been really informative, and I'm sure a lot of ladies will be contacting you as a result of this podcast today. So, thank you all for watching and listening. If you have any questions for me or my guest, ask them in the comments, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care and bye.